Hey, it's John with Vision Advisors. Thank you for joining us for an opportunity to take a look at a very interesting product that has recently come out in the annuity space that has gotten the attention of a number of our producers. We've really found value in this product, especially with a lot of the individuals that we work with that work in the multi-year guarantee space, that MIGA space. They have found this product as a great way to transition from just selling MIGAs to being able to transition into also selling fixed indexed annuities. And for some of our annuity producers that have been selling FIAs, they like the fact that they now have a product like this in their portfolio, so that as they're sitting down with their clients and the clients are describing their wants and needs for the future and really where a fixed indexed annuity may come in, this is a very neat tool to have in the toolbox. On the call with us today, I've got Tom Green from Sabres. Tom, I want to thank you for taking time to jump into the conversation with us, and I'm looking forward to getting some updates on what's become a very fun story for us to have here at Vision Advisors.
Great. I appreciate the time, John, very much. I want to just thank everybody that's able to take some time to listen to the presentation and also open our doors. Obviously, if you have any questions, reach out to John and his group there. They can always reach out to us as well if they're not sure of something, but we have a great support staff there that we really enjoy working with. So I want to just thank John again and his group for having us on today. For the sake of time, we'll try to keep this short for everyone so we're not tying too much of your day up. But we really want to take a few minutes to continue to get the word out there on the Retirement Plus Multiplier, or RPM product for short. It's been a little over a year now since we rolled it out, and it's become really what I see as a differentiator in the FIA space. So we've done a few different presentations on it over the course of the year, variations on the presentation, but really the driving points are the same. We're talking about some things like really, really competitive rates, top rates that you'll see out there, really competitive compensation we'll get into, as well as just a different story when it comes to the proprietary index, the Goldman Sachs Aging America, and we'll touch on that as well. Before we do that, I wanted to just jump in and mention the cash bonus for EAPs. So if you're viewing this, you'll see on the screen $100 per EAP with a cap of $1,000. So anyone that has not yet done an e-application with the RPM, or for that matter, any of the products with ACL or Sentinel, you have the ability to now receive $100 up to a cap of $1,000 per e-application. So it's just the e-app is going to be a quicker way to get your business through the system, process there, and issued. It's going to prevent, obviously, mistakes that can happen with paper applications, and just save some time on the back end. So they're really, really pushing the application to be used by as many agents as possible, and that's some good incentive there to do just that. And that goes backdated from the 8th of this month through the end of the year. This is you're eligible for the $100 cash reward. Product availability, we'll jump in a minute to some of the statistics and so forth. Product availability, in most states you have either ACL or Sentinel, both versions of the RPM product. And if you're not familiar with it, the reason we have both products that offer the RPM, or both carriers that offer the RPM, is because one, they're kind of sister companies. They're under the same parent company. There are a few states where that Sentinel is not available, and the same with ACL. So to cover the most amount of states for the agents working with the product and the IMOs out there that are marketing the product, we wanted to offer it through both companies. But again, there's only a few states that only offer one as opposed to the other, as opposed to both of them. So in most states, you will see the ability to do ACL and Sentinel. States like California, which happens to be the most recent one approved, and we already are doing a lot of business in California with the RPM, which started back in September 9th for that state. Only Sentinel is available in California. So that's an example of where they have one of the carriers that offers the product, but it's the same exact product. The one difference you have, for those that are wondering, is the comp. The comp on ACL is going to be 15 basis points higher than it will on Sentinel, and that really is down to they discontinued their agent trips at the end of last year, and as the Sentinel has continued there. So they put that back into the comp, bumped it up 15 basis points at the beginning of 2019. But other than that, you're looking at the same exact product between both carriers. So where I usually start is just jumping into, a few of the bullet points, real eye-openers behind the product, and how it's different than others out there. One, you have a 5-year product. So it does offer 5, 7, or 10 year. We've done just about all the business in 5 years, the 5-year version. Reason being, simply enough, is it offers that short duration to clients where they haven't really seen much of it before in the FIA space. Most of those products for a long time were 10 years, 12 years, 15 years even. Some have changed, down to 7 years over the last few or a couple of years, but you don't see many out there with 5 at all. And if you do see a couple of them, after you see the rates that we offer and the product itself, it's not going to be comparable. Compensation, another real differentiator. So you're looking at, as I mentioned, for someone up to the age of 75 on the 5-year product, 6.15% comp to the agent. And that bumps up, if you're going to use the longer durations, 7 or 10 year, that comp will bump up applicably. And we'll show that in a few minutes as well. Up to 200% participation rate. So we're talking about the Goldman Sachs Agent of America. You have the capability of getting in a 200% par rate with that healthcare index. And we'll break that down as well. Up to 8.5% cap rate on the S&P 1 year point to point. Very competitive. We'll go through all those rates. Flexible rider options. So you have the base contract where if you don't want to pay for any rider, there's no fee attached, and you can be in that product for the accumulation. If you're looking for an enhanced accumulation, we have the buy-up rider, also known as the growth rider, and that buys up the higher cap rates and the higher participation rates. So you're getting, some enhanced growth for 1.25%, and we'll go into all those figures in a minute as well. But you have the ability to enhance that growth, that accumulation opportunity for however long your client plans to stay in the contract, whether it's 5, 10, 15, or lifetime. 3-year index with premature death benefit. You have one option here, or one benefit here that you don't see in a lot of indexes out there that are multi-year indexes, I should say, in these FIA products. And that is, if you're in the 3-year Goldman Sachs Aging of America, so if you have an allocation of whether it's 5% or 100% in that index, the client is, something would have happened and a premature death took place to the owner of the contract, the full account value within that index is being paid out as of the date of death. Typically, you're going to see most of those multi-year indexes and other products pay out whatever the value was prior to that duration beginning. So it's a little bit of peace of mind type of play for the agent when they're talking to the client about the 3-year and the upside to the earnings potential with the 3-year accumulation potential. You also have the peace of mind where if something were to happen to them, they are getting that full account value as of the date of death, so they're not missing out on any of that growth. So breaking it down a little bit more, we are looking at from a flexibility standpoint. You're talking about the base contract where you have no rider, no fee. You also have those 2 options on the riders to add as well. Ages through 85, so 0 through 85. That's higher than most other products out there in the fixed index annuity space. A lot of them go up through age 80. So 85 gives you an opportunity to help your client a little bit more if they're looking for that index performer. 5, 7, and 10-year options. Typically, like I said, the majority of our product the applications that come in are definitely in that 5-year. It gives that client the flexibility to walk away after 5 years, stay in the contract for further accumulation potential. There is no reset of surrender charges at all. So once that 5 years is up, the surrender charges stay away, stay off the contract for the remaining life of the contract. And from a crediting strategy standpoint, you have the Goldman Sachs Aging of America Index. We'll get into that. You have the S&P 500, whether it's a cap or participation rate, and you have the fixed account as well. I touched on the growth rider. You also have the income riders, which is really from a strength standpoint, if you're looking for income for someone in the 65 to 75 year range, and they're looking to start it somewhere between the third and maybe 8th or 9th year, that's really going to be where the sweet spot is for that income rider. And from a liquidity standpoint, you have free RMDs that can begin in year 1, and you have 5% free withdrawals that you can start in the second contract year. So current rates, we are talking about some very competitive rates. We're looking at going left to right here, the base contract, and down. You have the Aging of America in the 3-year point-to-point with participation at 100%. So this is the version of there's no rider on it, no fee. On the 1-year Aging of America, you're at 58.5%. The 1-year point-to-point with the cap for the S&P is 6%, and the 1-year point-to-point with participation for the no fee is 40%. Those S&P rates are really going to stand out right now if you're looking at other products in the same market. You're not going to find a lot of opportunities for a 6% cap with there's no without a rider on there, without a fee that you're paying. So very, very strong, 40% participation rate as well. And I said 2% fixed. If you just jump over for a second, skipping the growth rider for 1 second, income rider, it's exactly the same rates as I just mentioned as the base contract, so I won't repeat all those. The income fee is 95 basis points, which is standard for income riders in the FIA space as well. Going back to the middle column, the growth rider. This is really an accumulation product. There's no doubt about it. We built it for that. You have 3 variations that I mentioned, 5, 7, and 10 year. The fee is the same no matter what duration you choose. So it's 1.25% for the growth rider. And before I mention all those rates, the rates that you see on the screen here are applicable to the 5, 7, and 10 year. There is no difference in rates between the 3 variations or 3 durations, I should say. So a lot of carriers out there, you typically see the longer the duration, the higher the rate that the client can earn. Not the case here. You have the same fee going across. Reason being, it's the same rate that you're going to get no matter if you're in the 5, 7, or 10 year. So going down that growth column, 3-year participation on the Goldman Sachs Healthcare Index, Aging of America, is 200%. The 1 year is 117%. That 200% is really competitive, as is the 117%. But the 2-year, that 3-year 200 is going to be, it's going to beat most 3-year options out there. Down below, you'll see the S&P. That cap bumps up to 8.5%, and it bumps up to 53% on the participation rate as well. The fixed is the same across the board at 2% for all 3 variations. So as you can see from the current rates, really competitive. They have not reduced rates. So we're really urging agents to think about just how competitive those rates are in this environment where we've seen a lot of companies come down over the last month or two. One piece we use that you may have seen, so this is kind of a fitted version for the sake of this presentation, but we've used this piece that you should be able to see on the screen, and it shows you the difference in what the Aging of America Index, how it performed in the 1 year, on its 1 year anniversary. So August of 2018, it was rolled out officially. And August of this year, 2019, the 1 year return, true return, was 7.65%. The 1 year return on the S&P 500 was 1.04%. So we're talking about 6.61% difference. Very, very strong, as you can see, very strong return, true 1 year return So it's definitely worth a look, getting some more information on if you're not familiar with it already. And we'll break it down a little bit further over the next few minutes. But it's a piece that's very powerful because it gives the agent really an idea, and the marketer as well, and then for them to convey to their client that there's something different out there that, along with the S&P, not placed up, but along with the S&P, it might be a really good addition to their account, and holding some of their premium in that for a chance to really earn some enhanced accumulation.
Tom, one of the things we found and heard from our producers that are using that index is that consumers relate to that index, especially the older clientele that they're working with, because they understand that that's where they live. And as they look at what makes that particular index up, they're buying those goods and services themselves. And so they realize the potential for this to create opportunity, as we've got an aging populace that's moving into this segment in their life where the products and services delivered by the companies in this Goldman Sachs index are really going to be the ones helping fund and finance boomer retirement for the next 2 or 3 decades as this generation lives out the last third of their life. So some neat opportunity there that really can create a unique client connection.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well said, John. And it's almost like that what I like to talk about is that now they get to invest where they spend.
Exactly.
Spending,
Yep.
And have been spending for maybe some years, right? On those medications, those procedures that they or family members may have needed. Now it gives them an opportunity to put back into that and earn something in that market, in that index. So yeah, great point, John. Thank you. So backing up now, what we'll do over the next just few minutes is kind of give you where we came from when what we looked at, why the baby boomer population was a focus for this particular index when we worked with the carrier and specifically Goldman Sachs to build the aging of America. What was the reason the baby boomers were targeted for this? John just mentioned that. One of the reasons was because of the growth in that population over time, and the need for such things as a lot of different medications and medical procedures that create a lot of opportunity and a lot of need and concerns and so forth for those individuals. So if you look back in 1946, when it was the baby boomer population was officially underway, who would have known or who knew at that time that you'd have about 70 million people going to turn 65 in about 10 years from now, 2030. That's going to represent 20% of the population. Just a huge number, a huge opportunity to think about. 10,000 boomers are, turning 65, or who knew that they would be turning 65 every single day. So again, just kind of highlighting that opportunity, highlighting that growth and the need for something different out there. It just, those two factors alone are pretty eye-opening. So the baby boom began, you saw a 40% increase in the U.S. population, so just another huge number, another big opportunity. When you think about it, just as an example, kind of get your mind in the right frame of thought when you're looking at why the baby boomers and why healthcare and why it relates to them so much, and the growth opportunity that we see. If you look back at 1946 when it started, and you jumped ahead 7 years, you saw 1953 the first color TV, and would you have known that it was going to take off the way it has, and technology would boom the way it has boomed from then until now? I don't know if you knew you were incredibly intuitive and just a genius, because I don't think anyone saw that. Procter & Gamble, with the release of Pampers, with that growth spurt in the population, what a product to have out there come out at that time, was different than any of those products have been in the past for babies. Schwinn with the bicycle, the Stingray bicycle, Ford with the Mustang in 1964. Just some real different eye-openers and things that you would have looked back and say, would I have invested in these products if I knew that what was going to happen in those industries thereafter? So over the next 20 years, spending by baby boomers is expected to increase almost 60% to about $4.74 trillion. So that is going on now. That is happening. That is creating a huge opportunity to work with your book of business and those clients that fit this category this portion of your book of business. Give them something to think about and really kind of address their concerns as they get older and they get further into retirement. So now, what we like to do lately, we've been talking about following the money, the 5 Ps of retirement. So what are we talking about? Where this massive population segment, where are they spending their money? So one of those is prescriptions. Another one is premiums. So premiums on Medicaid policies, supplements, things like that. Places where they're going to spend their lives living later on, and products and procedures. So a couple more statistics. Where are they, when we break it down, where are they actually spending? Well, they're spending money on medications that are dealing with things like chronic conditions. What are some of those chronic conditions? Things that every person is somewhat familiar with to some degree, whether it's personally or family members or whatever it may be. Things like cancer and strokes and heart disease, diabetes and arthritis and asthma, among others. So 80% of Americans 65 and over have at least one chronic disease. 80%, at least over the age of 65, at least one chronic disease that they're dealing with. They're also spending on prescriptions. So companies have had time, year over year, time over time, as medications come out, they really have to become innovative and start, build more and more of these medications that are going to serve the needs of an aging population. Excuse me. So in response to a lot of consumer backlash around the rising cost over the last number of years in medications, in the first quarter of this year, Eli Lilly introduced Lispro, which is a generic insulin for type 1 diabetes, kind of addressing that cost concern and coming out with a little bit new and innovative type of insulin for diabetics. We're also talking about products and procedures, 2 more of the Ps. So we have about 4 industry segments that are really going to grow from the demand for certain healthcare treatments. Cancer, diabetes, orthopedic care, and cardio care. So if you look down at some of the stats below, you'll see right now for cancer diagnostics, $144 billion. That's projected to go up to about $155 billion, 7% growth. Pacemakers, so that goes cardio care, currently about $8 billion, almost doubling to 15, just shy of 10% growth. And then knee replacements, so that orthopedic care, $8 billion, projected over 10, almost a 4% growth. So it gives you an idea of what are the products, what are the procedures out there, where is the cost really being placed, where are the needs for increased better products, better procedures. Well, it's really within these 4 breakdowns, these 4 areas. A 5th segment is of growth is expected. So we're talking now about premiums. You have Medicare, things like Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements. Medicare, you're just shy of 10 million in premiums, projected over 10 million by 2027. So actually 8.3 million right now, over 10 million, 23% growth. If you look at the other 2 below that, look at the growth percentage in these areas over the next few years. Tremendous. So premiums are a huge area of concern for seniors that need Medicare insurance and different types of insurance. Places, excuse me, where are they going to end up living as they get older? Either out of want, because it's just better for them as they age, just easier to get around, but they can still do everything themselves, or out of need, possibly, where they have to go. They can't take care of themselves anymore, those types of things. So you're looking at places like 55 and over communities, Yeah, those all over the place. I'm in the Northeast in Connecticut. We have a lot of those places near where I live. Just really kind of transitions those individuals where there's, people their age, they're smaller, maybe smaller houses than what they used to live in, but really nice, comfortable, all the way out to assisted living facilities, nursing care facilities, things like that, which will break down some of those costs in a minute. And everywhere in between, you have these places all over the country, in Tennessee and Florida, where they're huge villages, huge segments of the population that get to live in kind of these different communities that are geared towards seniors. But then you talk about more of those places as they get older, as they get maybe, they're getting sick now, or unfortunately they can't get around. You're talking about parents or grandparents. It's sad, but it's the truth, and we have to look at those places and how expensive they are, and what it could come down to that they're going to end up paying for down the road possibly. If you look at an assisted living facility, you're looking at about $45,000 a year. Home health aid services, just under $50,000. Nursing home for a semi-private room, not even a private room, over $85,000. And for a nursing home with a private room, just under $100,000 a year. And where I remember, back 20 years ago, let's say, you're in a nursing home, the average span of a nursing home was under 2 years. Under 2 years. Now it's over 4. It's more than doubled. Those costs are going to really, really cut into an average person's retirement and savings that they've accumulated over time to help them through these types of conditions. So it's scary to think about, but it's something that you definitely need to address with your clients that are in this baby boomer population, that are looking at retirement, that are looking down the road to put money away for their families and make sure they have enough to where they're not going to be a burden to somebody. We looked at the index a little bit. So, we looked at a few reasons and really what the focus was behind why we created the index, why we looked at the baby boomers, where the opportunity lies. Now we're looking at some of the performance within the Goldman Sachs Age of America. So if you're looking at, say, the most recent 10 years ending in 2018, the contract with the growth rider is extremely competitive. You're looking at that 3-year point-to-point at just under 9%, 8.74%. The 1-year point-to-point with participation at 5.65. The 1-year point-to-point with on the S&P 500 with participation is 6.22%, and the 1-year S&P 500 with the cap at 5.88. So what I often do, and you may have heard me say this before, when I'm running an illustration for a marketer or for an agent, unless they tell me otherwise, I will typically, if we're running the growth route, if they say they want the enhanced accumulation, I will very often use about 75% in the 3-year Goldman Sachs and 25% in the 1-year participation of the S&P 500. So again, the 3-year in the Goldman Sachs Aging America, about 75%, sometimes 50% depending. And the 1-year S&P with participation at for the remaining 25 to 50%. And that seems to really, of all the ones I've run, really perform the best. The cap, the S&P cap is very close, but I find with that par, the 1-year par in the S&P and the combined with the 3-year Aging America, it performs really well. And if you look down below, you'll see the base contract there. Some of the returns, a little bit lower than what they are with the growth rider, but still competitive. And I usually break it down the same way when I'm running the base contract as well. So if you're looking at the contract again with the growth rider, we just look at real quick. We'll look at the least favorable, most favorable, and most recent. You can see with that, just focusing really on the least favorable, with that Aging of America, 1-year point to point, you're at 5.5%. And with the 1-year point to point with participation, you're at over 2.5%. So for a least favorable view, least favorable returns, they're pretty competitive. Pretty solid returns on a least favorable when you're thinking about the least favorable view. So, we highlight that just to show you how powerful these really are. Some of the constituents that you may have seen from other presentations or some of our pieces where we list them, there are about 130 constituents in the Aging of America Goldman Sachs healthcare index. And they're all healthcare companies or healthcare real estate companies. And those healthcare real estate companies are, companies that build nursing homes and assisted living facilities, things like that. But as you can see on the screen, some of the top equity constituents as of March 31st of this year, pretty much household names that most, if not all, clients are going to know. Johnson & Johnson for orthopedic care, United Healthcare Group for Medicare insurers, Novartis for cancer treatments, Amgen for cancer treatments, Pfizer for cardio care, jumping down to Eli Lilly for diabetic care, Novo Nordisk for diabetes, and companies like Celgene for cancer treatments as well. So companies that most of your clients are familiar with, they're aware of, and many have probably been purchasing products from, whether medications or products or procedures in some way, shape, or form over time. So these are companies, as John alluded to earlier, and as I mentioned, where they now have been spending on, and now they get to kind of invest in, if you will, where they've been spending. So it's a really cool concept, and it's going to really hit home with, I think, a lot of your clients. The constituent universe, just real quick, the equities are, again, in that Motif Aging of America Index, the Goldman Sachs Index. And the fixed income is in the 10-year U.S. Treasury Rolling Futures Index. From a marketing material standpoint, we have some really good pieces. We get a lot of good feedback on the client brochure, as well as the Goldman Sachs Aging of America brochure. That is client approved as well. We have the Aging Quick Sheet, and a few other pieces like the playbook and things like that I really advise you to take a look at. They can really be helpful when you're discussing and learning about the product. Give us a call. Obviously, I always say, please reach out to your IMO who you have the RPM through. Thank you for continued marketing support, especially if you've been using them in that way for some time. We always refer people to like John and his group. But if you can't, reach somebody, or you just want to give me a call, you're more than welcome to give me a call. The sales desk number is on the screen there as well, 800-447-4312. My direct line, it's not on the screen, but I'll mention it, is 860-403-5206. But I work a lot with the marketing organizations like Vision Advisors and their marketers to work with your agents, you guys out in the field, and help you prepare your knowledge of the product, where you can talk to your clients about it and really convey the importance of what we think is just a unique product. Some digital tools that they've come out with over the last number of months, over the past year, the agent portals have been expanded. You can get almost anything that you need off of either the ACL or Sentinel portal. Online contracting program, we've been really pushing this over the last few months. It can really speed up obviously the contracting part of it. But you can actually, if you're a brand new agent, just signing on under an IMO for the RPM product, you can pretty much do online contracting and do an EAP on the same day. And that leaves me where I said before, EAPs are really pushing EAPs. It cuts down on, obviously, mistakes that you can make on paper. It won't let you go forward, so it eliminates that. It gets through the system quicker, gets at least keyed in right off the bat. So with the delays that we've obviously been seeing from the carrier side, because they are so inundated with applications, and I'm not going to try to get around that. There is a few business day delay on getting everything through the system. One way to combat that is with the application to get it through the system even faster. So take advantage of that process as well. And just really, again, step 1, 2, and 3, just take a look at your account and give us a call. We'll be glad to talk to you about any case design help you need, or with your IMO, and help them out as well. So definitely, please contact us with any of your needs. And that, John, in keeping it to hopefully a short enough amount of time where I'm not taking up too much of your day, that is pretty much it in a nutshell for the RPM. I really want to thank you again for having me on today, giving me the opportunity to speak to your agents and I'll be glad to do this again, anytime for you.
Very good. Tom, thank you for that. I will mention as we wrap up, we have seen a lot of interest in those shorter duration, the 5 and the 7 year. And really, I think the bulk that we're seeing, I would echo Tom's comments earlier, we're seeing the bulk of the sales in that 5-year chassis. And clients that have never bought a fixed indexed annuity like the idea of having something of a shorter duration. And older clients that may be thinking of life expectancy issues like those shorter duration products as well. And this is a very attractive way to make decent compensation while bringing a real value add to your client and giving them an opportunity to really have a chance to see some decent growth in a product. The way this product's been designed and the way the weights and caps are put together, the Goldman Sachs motif that you've got an opportunity to look at, some very unique value propositions and a unique story that not everybody's telling in the marketplace. So if you've got additional questions on this product, would like to get appointed, see an illustration, or to figure out how to do an e-app so you can qualify for that $100 bonus, give us a call here at Vision Advisors. Our number is 1-800-505-8489, and we look forward to hearing from you. Tom, thank you again for joining us. We appreciate our relationship with you guys. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great day.